Hello, I am T. Berry. This is part 2 of a 2-part series on God's keys to professional success on your job. It's a joy to have you join us on this journey as we unlock the secrets to living a more abundant and fulfilling life, both in our careers and beyond. Remember, true success isn't just about climbing the corporate ladder or achieving financial wealth, but about walking in God's purpose for our lives. In part 1, we laid a solid foundation by exploring the first 7 keys: excellence, knowledge, ability, people skills, organization, wisdom, and concentration. These principles, my friends, are like pillars that support a strong and resilient structure. Today, we're going to build upon that foundation as we delve into the next 5 keys. These keys are not merely strategies for success, but rather they are rooted in the timeless wisdom of the Bible. Thanks for subscribing and liking the video. I appreciate you. Our first key for today is understanding authority. You see, God has established order in every area of life, and that includes the workplace. When we respect and honor those in positions of leadership, we're not just showing respect for them as individuals, but for the God who placed them there. Remember David, even when he was anointed king, he still showed respect to King Saul, even when Saul wasn't acting very kingly. You might find yourself in a situation where you don't see eye to eye with your boss, or you feel like your talents are being overlooked. It's easy to become resentful, to complain, or to gossip. But friends, that's not the path to success. In those moments, I encourage you to remember David's example. Choose to honor God by honoring the authority He's placed over you. Now, understanding authority doesn't mean we become passive or accept injustice. It's about responding with wisdom and grace, seeking God's guidance in how to navigate challenging situations. It's about being respectful, even when it's difficult. The Bible tells us to be subject for the Lord's sake to every human institution, 1 Peter 2:13. That means even when it's hard, even when we don't understand, we choose to honor God by honoring the authority He's placed over us. When we do this, we create an atmosphere of respect and trust, which are essential for any successful team or organization. Remember, God sees your heart, He sees your faithfulness, and He will honor your obedience. He will open doors that no man can shut and elevate you to places you never thought possible. Our next key, my friends, is training. You see, God has gifted each of us with unique talents and abilities, but it's not enough to simply possess these gifts. We must cultivate them. We must be willing to learn, to grow, and to become the very best versions of ourselves. Think about Moses. He was called by God to lead the Israelites out of slavery in Egypt. But before he could do that, he spent 40 years in the wilderness, tending sheep. It might not have seemed glamorous, but it was during those years that God was training Moses, preparing him for the great task ahead. In the same way, God may call you to a new career, a promotion, or a business venture, but He doesn't always take us directly to our destination. He often leads us through seasons of training, where we develop the skills, the character, and the resilience we need to fulfill His purpose. This training might come in the form of formal education, on-the-job experience, mentorship, or even through challenges and setbacks. But whatever form it takes, we must embrace it with a teachable spirit, knowing that God is using it to prepare us for something greater. Never stop learning, never stop growing, And never underestimate the power of training, for it is in the process of becoming that we discover our true potential and step into the fullness of what God has called us to be. Chapter 3, Time Management. Now, let's talk about time management. The Bible tells us in Ephesians chapter 5, verse 16, making the best use of the time, because the days are evil. We all have the same 24 hours in a day, but it's how we use that time that determines our level of success. Think about Jesus. He lived a life of purpose and intentionality. He had a clear mission to fulfill, and he made the most of every moment. He didn't allow distractions to derail him from his purpose. In today's fast-paced world, it's easy to get caught up in the busyness of life and allow our time to be consumed by things that don't really matter. But friends, we have to be intentional about how we spend our time. We need to prioritize what's truly important: our relationship with God, our families, our health, and our work. Start by identifying your time wasters. Are you spending too much time on social media, watching TV, or engaging in unproductive activities? Once you've identified those time wasters, you can start eliminating them or reducing the amount of time you spend on them. Create a schedule and stick to it. This will help you stay organized and on track. And don't be afraid to say no to commitments that will drain your time and energy. Remember, every yes to something means saying no to something else. Chapter 4, the power of priorities. You see, priorities are really about alignment. It's about aligning our lives with God's will and His purpose for us. And when our priorities are in order, everything else falls into place. When we put God first, when we prioritize our families, our health, and our work, we create a life of balance and fulfillment. Remember the story of Mary and Martha? Jesus was visiting their home, and Martha was busy running around, trying to get everything ready. Mary, on the other hand, sat at Jesus' feet, listening to his words. Martha was stressed and overwhelmed, but Mary was at peace. You see, Mary understood the power of priorities. She knew that spending time with Jesus was more important than anything else. In the same way, we need to be careful not to get so caught up in the busyness of life that we neglect what truly matters. It's easy to get caught up in our to-do lists, our work deadlines, and our social calendars. But we need to remember that our relationship with God comes first. Make time for prayer, for reading His Word, and for simply being still in His presence. When we put God first, everything else will fall into place. Chapter 5, Faith in Action. Our final key today is faith. You see, faith is not just about believing in God. It's about acting on that belief. It's about trusting God even when we don't see the full picture, even when we're facing challenges, and even when we're afraid. Think about Joseph. He was sold into slavery by his own brothers, falsely accused, and thrown into prison. Yet, through it all, he never lost faith in God's plan. He knew that God had a purpose for his life, and he trusted that God would make things right. And you know what? God did make things right. Joseph's faith was rewarded. He was elevated to a position of power and influence, and he was able to save his family from famine. Friends, we serve a God who can do the impossible. He can open doors that no man can shut and make a way where there seems to be no way. But he asks us to trust him. to step out in faith and to believe that he is who he says he is. So, I want to encourage you today, don't give up on your dreams. Don't lose hope. Keep believing, keep trusting, and keep moving forward in faith. For with God, all things are possible. Thank you for joining us today as we explored these 5 essential keys to professional success. I pray that you found encouragement and inspiration to live a life of purpose and fulfillment, not just in your careers, but in every area of your life. Remember, friends, true success is not measured by our bank accounts or our job titles, but by the impact we make on the world around us. Let us go out and live lives that are pleasing to God, using our gifts and talents to make a difference in the lives of others. Don't forget to like this video. If you were encouraged, share it with a friend who needs to hear this message, and subscribe to our channel for more inspiring content. Until next time, God bless you. Thanks for subscribing and liking the video. I appreciate you.